putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Michael, I was reminded of this tweet from the Virginia. I mean, the president has this theme. He talks about tough on crime or weak on crime. Meanwhile, we should note his former campaign manager has been indicted on 12 counts along with his associate. The president doesn't seem that upset about those alleged crimes. But the president said this during the Virginia race: Ed Gillespie will turn the really bad Virginia economy numbers around. Okay, fine. And fast. Second sentence is strong on crime, comma, he might even save our great statue's heritage. Seems like there's a lot of subtext there.
Yeah, except the text ain't so sub. I mean, the reality is that it's a pretext and a context for bigotry here. This is a president who rises every morning to excrete the feces of his moral depravity into a nation that he's turned into his psychic commode. Here's a guy who doesn't understand the difference between right and wrong fundamentally and who doesn't care. So for him, race trumps everything. And in this case, sending these dog whistles out there, suggesting that the statues are part of our heritage, and it's a false argument. When people say these statues are part of our heritage, yes, but your heritage is bigotry. The Civil War was not fought in regard to race and slavery. It was fought for states' rights. The states' right to do what? Own slaves. Right. So this is a manipulation of history. Gore Vidal said we live in the United States of amnesia. Donald Trump is one of the greatest amnesiacs alive, and yet he's able to join amnesia and nostalgia for a way of life that passed long ago that now the white supremacists are trying to revive, and Donald Trump is their greatest champion, and they get extra points. They give extra points to him because he doesn't quite explicitly say it. He just signifies. He's in the realm of inference, and in being in the realm of inference means you can have plausible deniability. Right. What do you mean? That's not what I was saying. Well, I didn't mean that at all.
Welcome back, everybody. Michael Eric Dyson. Woo! Dr. Michael Eric Dyson. This is a fool that teaches your kids in college. And I love how Chris Hayes, I think is this guy's name, he sets it up by saying his campaign manager was indicted. Yes, campaign manager was indicted, but who was his campaign manager before he was indicted? He was a co-conspirator with Podesta and Hillary Clinton. And he says Ed Gillespie will turn a Virginia economy around, but and he mentions the great statue's heritage in a tweet, Donald Trump. And that's what sets off Michael Eric Dyson and MSNBC to go on this racist tirade of Donald Trump. All he cares about is race, blah, 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 blah. Michael Eric Dyson is an interesting guy in the sense that if you notice his style, he already has something to say at the beginning. And he screwed it up. He couldn't even get the line out. Donald Trump rises every morning to the feces. Donald Trump rises every morning to excrete the feces of his moral depravity into a nation that has turned into his psychic commode. So let me repeat it without going through it like that, because I can do it better than he can. But he says that Donald Trump rises every morning to excrete the feces of his moral depravity into a nation that he's turned into his psychic commode. Now, this is a guy who they bring on TV to expound on commentary, and that's what he says. Donald Trump rises every morning to excrete the feces of his moral depravity into a nation that he's turned into his psychic commode. What the heck does that even mean? He says, for Donald Trump, race trumps everything. This is a race baiter. A guy who that's all he talks about is race. He can't talk to you about issues. If you just said, look, Michael Eric Dyson, we're going to have a conversation, and the conversation will strictly be about the issues unrelated to race. Michael Eric Dyson could not say a word. See, that's the difference. I remember, I tell you guys this story quite often, but a radio guy says to me one time, Kevin, are you going to be able to talk about things other than race during radio? His actual comment was, if Obama is not reelected and Romney is elected, could you have a radio show? And I was like, really? I was like, dude, race issues are going to be around before I die, long after I'm dead. You'll still be talking about racism. Believe me, I'm going to do everything I can to stop that. But you're going to be talking about race and politics for a long time, unless somebody decides to back a guy like me with enough coin where I can put a dent in it, where I can go around to college and say, hey, when are you people going to wake up? Because let me tell you what's happening here. You will emasculate young white men for some amount of time, but essentially you're empowering them. People don't understand what I mean when I say that comment. See, young black men, we were emasculated. We were made to feel small. And many of us became fearless warriors like myself, fighting for virtue. When you get white kids who finally say, I don't give a crap about what you think, and they've got parents, and and even their parents are starting to learn, you're going to watch these guys roar back and say, that's enough. I'm done with this nonsense. See, that's the way I thought as a kid. I was like, man, you guys want to look at young blacks and criticize us? I'll show you. But there weren't enough of us because there was a system that stepped into play that said, you're stupid. Hey, blah, 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 you don't have any parents. Look at you. We're going to send you to substandard schools. White kids have parents. White kids are not going to substandard schools. Eventually, they're going to wake up. The indoctrination system will have them for a little bit, but then the world's going to hit them in the face. The world doesn't hit young blacks in the face. They still are on welfare. Their lives haven't changed dramatically. They don't have even with little white kids, so what? The parents are very liberal and let them get away. Eventually, they're going to get an inheritance. They're going to get some property. They're going to get something that has meaning to them, and the switch is going to flip, click, and they're going to be mad as heck. There's nothing to flip a switch for a black kid. He doesn't have a support system that says, hey, they've been screwing you over all this time. So the only people who are there people like me out there going, well, as much as I don't really need any more cheerings, I'll adopt them and I'll explain to them how things are not working out the way they want. And I'll take on as many as I can. But they're not all going to switch over. But if I adopt these white kids, they'll switch over. They'll go, hey, I don't know my real daddy, but my black daddy, Kevin, man, he told me so-and-so. And I don't feel that way anymore. And, I'm no longer a snowflake. What you call me a cupcake? Pfft. They will fight back. Anyway, back to this fool, Michael Eric Dyson. He's a race pimp. And then he says, these statues are not part of our heritage. Well, they are part of our heritage, yes, but our heritage, it's a heritage of bigotry. Okay, Michael Eric Dyson, where does that bigotry originate? That bigotry where the Civil War was fought over states' rights. What was it fought over? It was fought because the Republican Party, the anti-slavery party, said, we're sick of these leftists trying to take credit for blacks as part of their economy and part of who they are, when in fact that would be like counting cattle. And so aside from the very inhumane act of slavery, you also want to profit from it. And Michael Eric Dyson, oh, you're so stupid, Republican. Michael Eric Dyson and all of his ilk, they vote for the very oppressors that they claim that they fight against. The heritage that is part of the bigotry that he describes is his heritage. He's taken ownership. It's the same rationale that says, let me build a shrine for a thug named Michael Brown or a thug named Anthony Lamar Smith. Or let me put a statue up for Marion Barry, a crackhead mayor who accomplished nothing. That's the logic. The same logic that says Snoop Dogg should be more influential in the black community than Clarence Thomas. I could pick anybody. That's the rationale. And they want you to buy into it. He says that we're in a state of amnesia. And he quotes, I don't know, Carl Sagan. I don't know who he quoted. But what's funny when people quote other folks, it's like this gives validity to what I'm about to say. The state of amnesia, and he says Donald Trump wants to join amnesia to nostalgia. And he doesn't do it outright. Michael Eric Dyson says, no, he doesn't do it outright. He's too smart for that. Yeah, the dumbest president ever, right? That's who they say Trump is. Too smart for that. No, he does it in the realm of inference. So Donald Trump just infers when he talks about our glorious past, whether you like it or not, it is our past. To Michael Eric Dyson, that is a reference. He calls it a dog whistle. It is a dog whistle to the white slavery, the white supremacist mentality. These are the people teaching your kids. I want to keep that fresh in your brain. These people are crazy, folks. And if you allow this, if you continue to allow this, you're going to get the nation you don't want. And I'm going to do my best to stop it.
He won't stop until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive freak are you?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.